Today, welcome to another edition of the Learn Chamorro podcast. We're here at the Napu restaurant in Tamuning with Christine, where she gladly accepted us to have this show here today. And I really suggest you guys try the huli chicken with her Dinancy extra order on the side. 2 orders. Christine's laughing over there. The restaurant is great. My first visit, man, I can't tell you, it's amazing. The ingredients and the way they prepared it. The servings, oh my gosh, it was so filling. I have some left over there, and man, I can't tell you. I've tried the other restaurants, and this place stands out on its own. So thank you again, Christine, for having us here. I invite everyone, all of our, I think we have like 48,000 subscribers. So hopefully, a fraction of them come in, So thank you again, Christine. It's so funny. I just met Christine just now, so I'm totally crashing a restaurant. But hopefully we can help her out and get some customers. So come on by over here at Napu Restaurant. Okay, so today we're with Mike. Mike, come on, partner, man. Why are you like that, bro?
What's up?
You're just so quiet, man.
Oh yeah, I'm just
get in there, brother.
I'm just waiting.
So humble. I love Mike. He's just, he carries himself. He has all this knowledge, all this power. Because knowledge is power. Look at him, he's laughing. He's a double, triple threat, like I said. And he's just so humble, man. It just pisses me off, So anyways, thanks, Mike, again for joining me over here. We are committed to the weekly podcast, and so far we have.
Oh yes, definitely.
We have, we are making a commitment.
This is number 4.
Absolutely, and so we are releasing them once a week, and it's going to vary from history and to learning the language, of course, with certain educational phrases and some tips and some. I guess strategies to help. Today we're going to talk about history and in particular the Guam Legends, Mike.
Yeah.
So
Zahu Estes.
Oh yes, I'm from England, right? So growing up we didn't. You know what, man? We didn't. Our grandparents never really talked about Totomones or all the legends. We learned from the school. It's funny. Because I lived in such a a spiritual place of all these these tragedies, and I'm sure that the ancients, our spirits are lingering very heavily in that area because of all the life lost and and the significance of the history. What's your take?
No, I think one of the things which is always kind of strange for people is that, like, back in the day, a lot of kids wouldn't really talk to their grandparents all the time. Chamorro culture for a long time was very age stratified. So old people spoke to old people, and middle-aged people, and then kids didn't necessarily talk to elders and stuff like that. And a lot of older Chamorros remember that when people come over, the kids are not supposed to be seen. When guests come over to the house, the kids go away and they leave the adults to talk to each other. And so some children were allowed to sit in and listen and have like a close relationship to a grandparent, an elder, or parents and stuff, and they would hear these stories. But for most kids, you wouldn't get a lot of that knowledge.
Yep, definitely.
But
I myself like to linger, man. Hang out, just hear what they're saying.
It's good. A lot of the knowledge that we have today, it comes from Chamorros who were imbilikero.
That's me.
They were nosy.
Absolutely, bro. I'm sure we all were. Weren't you?
Oh yeah.
Come on, Mike.
Oh yeah. Oh man. And so when you legends are a really, really interesting, and they're a really cool way of learning about history, culture, and passing on lessons like knowledge.
Get Guam's first and only apparel for Guam business executives and golfers. GuamGear.com. Feel the pride with every stride. Available today at GuamGear.com.
When you think about legends and stories like that, there's always different types, right?
Mm-hmm.
And depending on how you tell a story, a legend, you can focus on different things and people will understand the message of why this story is important in different ways. One of the most famous ones that we have locally is, of course, the Story of Serena.
Yes.
And the Story of Serena here is very different than mermaid stories around the world.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You see, Mike, this is why I love you, man, because, I'm telling you, Chelo, man, I was born and raised here, grew up the way that, with I was so fortunate to be raised also by my grandparents. Unfortunately, they passed away at a younger age, whereas your grandparents and your grandma recently, you lost your grandma, and your grandpa's still alive. He's so you are, man. I want to say I don't want to say you have no idea because I know you have all the idea. But I'm saying for the kids, for the younger ones, who, like my boys, they only have my grandparents. I mean, my mom, and my wife's side, they both passed away. And so a lot of the character molding and building, is from the exposure.
It's true.
And so
true.
And here I am thinking, I know the legends about the comparison with Serena. So please indulge me. What is the difference between the legends with Serena?
Well, in most places around the world, mermaids the word Serena comes from the word siren. And so they are sort of mythical creatures which lure sailors to their death.
Oh my gosh, what?
And so as you can see, the Guam, and for those of you that know the Guam story of Serena, it's totally different.
Yes.
The Guam story of Serena is, depending on how you tell it, the message behind the moral behind the story is to obey your parents, or it's the importance of the godmother, the godparents in a child's life,
Okay.
or it's the importance of being forgiving and understanding when raising your children.
Okay.
Because when you think about that story, Serena is a naughty girl who loves to go swim in the river instead of doing her chores. And so what happens is, of course, the mother curses her, says it's better if you were a fish.
Yeah.
And then so Serena turns into a fish, but her godmother intervenes and says that I'm the godmother. She belongs to me, half.
Yeah.
And so you don't get to curse all of her. You can only curse the part that you own, which fortunately for Serena was
It was the
the
lower
bottom
half.
half instead of the upper half, because she would not be...
How convenient.
We would not see her in murals or
Yes.
children's books if she had a fish
It'll
head
be a monster.
and women's
And
legs.
women's legs, yeah. So good job on history.
And so when you hear the different versions, because there's not one version of the Serena story, there's lots of different versions.
Okay.
Some of them focus, so if you were telling it to your children, you may focus a story so that they understand, obey me.
Yes.
I'm your parents, obey me. You don't want to end up cursed like Serena
Yeah.
got cursed. Or you may focus the story where you turn the godmother into a hero. You say, always be close to your godmother because she is also your parent.
Yeah.
And she will protect you sometimes even from your own family.
Your family. Yes, yeah. Great.
But then some versions of the story, and these are my favorite versions, they actually have, Serena going into the sea, and she's actually happy. She's actually happy that she's gotten to live in the ocean and swim her entire life. And so, she tells her mother, sorry about what happened, but please be forgiving with the rest of my siblings.
Uh-huh.
And the mother cries because, of course, when you tell it in that way, it's a reminder to parents to not be cruel to your children,
Yes.
to be understanding that they will make mistakes and not to be not so intolerant.
Wow, Mike, you know what? The last time, you see, another reason why, man, we're so blessed to have this show with Mike's help, man, and his partnership, because, again, these things are just news to me right now, and I'm learning so much. And then, you know what? Like you said, all I knew was a story that she liked to go swimming. The mom was scolding her, you do your chores, but no, she wants to go swim. And that's it, and the fish. But as far as you know what? Maybe they did share with the moral of the story when I was younger. But guess what? I was a young kid. I didn't pay attention to that part. So I'm very happy to revisit it. And the power of that story is great. So you know what, Mike? I'm gonna put a link, man, to the story on the podcast on the bottom of the show.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I should do that. Okay.
Oh yeah, you definitely should.
Okay. What are the legends that stand out to you?
Man.
Can you name a few of them?
There's so many.
What are
and so the thing is, when you're talking about legends, you're talking about. Some of them are from the Spanish period. Some of them are more recent. Some of them are old and ancient, but they change over time. Like the Two Lovers Point story.
Okay.
You have so many different versions of that.
Really?
Some of them, the versions of it are, it takes place in ancient times, and it's a high caste woman and a low caste boy.
And society, you mean?
Yeah. So there's no Spanish involved in the story at all.
Okay.
And then later you have it where it's a Spanish officer and then a high caste
gotcha.
Chamorro woman who falls in love with a low caste Chamorro boy. And then even during during the American period, the story was changed again, and so it became an American officer and sort of a Chamorro woman with mixed Spanish Chamorro blood and stuff like that. Because interestingly enough, Tumon Bay was a favorite place where sailors and Marines before World War II, you would hire a taxi for the day and you would take your Chamorro's girlfriend or date there, and then the taxi would leave you there for you to try out your moves. and then pick you up a couple of hours later. And so that's when Two Lovers Point got associated with also, and the story changed.
Did you say
again.
moves? Make your moves.
Try out your
Try
moves.
your moves.
And so it was notorious. Like mothers would tell their daughters, don't go to Tumon.
Nice.
Don't go to Tumon. I know you're feeling tempted, but don't go to Tumon.
Okay, what about like the white lady?
Oh,
The bridge.
there's so many different white lady
what
stories too.
Really?
Oh my goodness.
Mike, man, you know what? See, I'm just so looking forward to learning so much from you, brother. And Mike, let me ask you this, because I see a direct value in adding links to the podcast below the show. So, can I count on you for sending me links to these things for these art
part of the difficulty is that
Okay.
a lot of things that I'm mentioning are not
Okay.
online.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
They're, this is one of the problems that we find. I mean, this is the problem that my students at UOG find when they have to do their research papers. Is they think that they can find everything on the internet, but
I do.
still a lot of good resources for Guam or Chamorro stuff. You got to read it.
Yeah.
You have to go and look for it and read it.
Sure. And
There is some stuff
okay.
online though.
Okay. Well, we'll do the best we can, everybody. Okay. So, what about? Let me ask you this: what about the legend of the Totomona? Why is it? What's with the missing head? I mean, that's not very nice.
Now the Tautomona is a very interesting thing because now Tautomona is not like an ancient term. So Chamorros in ancient times most likely didn't say Tautomona.
Okay.
We don't find any evidence that they used that to refer to spirits.
Okay.
It's something that comes about after Catholicism has come in,
Okay.
and colonization by the Spanish has already started, and so it comes in as a reference to the spirits that they find in the jungle, and these are spirits that Chamorros used to worship as their ancestors, but now they fear as being the people of before.
Is this pre-Spanish?
No. This is during the Spanish period.
Okay.
During the Spanish period is that Chamorros look at these spirits which they used to worship as being their elders, and now they see them as being like their distant ancestors, the people, the primitive people that lived on the island before Catholicism. And so Tautomona, because before Catholicism came in, those spirits were called Aniti.
Aniti.
Or Manganiti. And so they were revered. But during the Spanish period, as people become Catholic, they look at those spirits in a new way and see them as Tautomona.
Okay.
The spirits of the people of before. And so it's interesting though, because the representation of Tautomona as being headless is actually ancient in origin. It's very interesting because in ancient times, when somebody would pass away, the most important thing so you could stay connected to the spirit of your ancestor was that you, after they had been buried for a period of time, you would take their skull.
Oh, okay.
And you would bring it into the home.
Oh, okay.
And
So
that skull was like the spiritual anchor.
Yes.
So if your grandmother died and you wanted her to stay close to the family, then you would take her skull, and then the skull.
Was that a practice? Are you saying that was a practice before?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
It was their ancestral worship.
Understood.
That was their main religion before. Now,
Mike,
what happened though was, so when you would become an Aniti and a spirit, of course your skull would be in the house.
Okay.
Which means you would roam the world of spirits without a head.
Ah.
And so we even have examples of that in cave drawings.
Really?
Where they draw figures which have arms and legs but no head.
Nice.
And so the assumption is that those are spirits.
Spirits, yeah.
Yeah, that those are spirits.
Okay.
And so, but yeah, you got also.
That's awesome, man. I didn't know that.
Types of
See, that's what we get with the benefits we have of having an expert in history. Resurface those stories, those legends, and there's more to it than we know. So awesome. Okay, once again.
Feel the pride with every stride. Add the official Guam Gear logo to your corporate uniform to support your local clothing brand. Pre-order your staff uniforms today at guamgear.com.
Okay, we're back. Okay, brother, go ahead and okay. So now, what other legends are there? What about the one that the guy that jumped the road? What?
Oh yeah, no.
That's come on, man.
Yeah, no. That is a legend. There's a lot of ancient legends, of course, which deal with like super feats of strength like that.
Mm-hmm.
Taga's son. Gado and his sons.
Tell me about Taga.
Taga. Oh, there's lots of stories about Taga. In fact,
House of Taga.
Oh yeah, I mean,
dude, that's incredible, man. That quarry that they, of the limestone head.
Oh yeah, and so actually, well, when I look back at sort of these sorts of legends, one of my favorite ones, which is not really known or as talked about as much today, is the legends of Ukudu.
Ukudu.
Yeah,
Okay.
Who now the Ukudu school is not named after Ukudu.
Understood.
The area
Was it
known as
coincidence?
Ukudu. And so Ukudu is like sort of an ancient figure. He was a guy who was like a jokester, like a trickster in ancient times. And so Ukudu today means like a trap, like to get caught in a trap, or to be caught in a situation that you can't get out of.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really interesting because Ukudu was this figure who would go around like messing with people, and everyone would like want to kill him because he was like messing with them, but he would always escape to live another day and like play tricks on another people.
Okay.
And so the most famous of his stories is when he goes to Rota one day because he's from Guam, but he goes to Rota one day because he hears that the daughter of the Magalahi of Rota is the most beautiful woman in the Marianas Islands.
Okay.
So this is pre-Spanish. This is all pre-Spanish.
Okay.
And so he goes over there, and the chief is dying, though. So the people are really desperate to find some cure. And so when Ukudu sees this, and he sees the daughter, he pretends that he's a great healer from Guam, a great magician.
Mm-hmm.
And so the people are so desperate to save their Magalahi that they do anything he asks.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, gather up all of these random things, and people gather them up. And then he says, now I need to take all these things, and I need to go with the chief's daughter into the jungle,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to prepare a special medicine for the chief.
Okay.
And so Ukudu and the daughter go into the jungle together for a period of time, and it is in the story it's alluded to them getting to know each other in the biblical sense.
Okay.
Meaning getting to know each
Why are you
other
smirking,
in a
Mike?
physical sense.
Why are you smirking, Mike?
Because remember that Chamorro
biblical
was in the
sense.
past.
Go just say it, bro. What do you mean? What do you mean biblical sense?
I know, but I'm trying to be all innuendo.
Oh, gotcha.
Chamorros in the past were very sexual. Still are very sexual.
Brother, thank you for saying that. Because, correct me if I'm wrong. Check this out. Bro, my ADD's kicking in, bro. Dispensa, okay, but okay. I heard, bro, from an elder that the Chamorro culture today, as we know it, of course, is stemmed from our grandparents, right? And then but they say, bro, that it's built on the sins of our ancestors and our past, grandparents and their grandparents. Not the sins, but I guess because of their activities and the things they've done, was a lot more, I guess, unspeakable.
Mm-hmm.
And it was built on fixing, correcting, or trying to make right from what the past, was common. Is that true?
I'm not sure. I don't. I mean, for me, a lot of it just comes from the influence of Catholicism.
Okay.
But now in the story of Ukudu,
Mm-hmm.
so him and the chief's daughter get together.
Okay.
And then they emerge from the jungle after getting to know each other. They emerge from the jungle with this random broth that they have put together. And so Ukudu then says,
drink this.
he says, give this to the chief who is almost dead. While me and the daughter, we go out onto our canoe, and we will say a special prayer, a special chant.
He stole
And
her.
so they go out into the canoe and sort of they give the chief the broth, and they see Ukudu and the daughter in the distance, and Ukudu and the daughter appear to be performing some sort of ceremony. The daughter's got her arms up like this.
You're crazy.
She's sort of waving herself
You wish you could see what
around.
Mike's doing right now. Go ahead.
So everyone starts to cheer because they think, oh, they're performing the ceremony. The daughter, she loves her father. She's getting really into the ceremony. And so then the chief dies. And then the people look and they're like, hey, wait a second.
They keep going.
Hey, that's a different type of ceremony. And so they try to get out. They try to swim out and get Ukudu and the daughter, but they're already far away, and they sail back to Guam.
I knew it. He stole her.
And so he stole her.
I knew
So the
it.
thing is-
I saw that coming.
Oh yeah. And so Ukudu always got away. And so what I always found really interesting though is that there's these stories of Ukudu, but then whenever I would ask older Chamorros in interviews, like, do you know any stories of Ukudu?
Mm-hmm.
Several of them would say this. They would say, Matai si Ukuru gi kamzu,
Okay.
which means Ukuru died on the kamzu,
Uh-huh.
which is the bench for grating coconut.
Yep.
And so I found that interesting because this is like an ancient story, but then you have contemporary Chamorros invoking sort of the figure of Ukudu, and in a way which was very, very interesting. So, when you think about that, to go from this great trickster figure who could escape any situation to then this saying where Chamorros say, even Ukudu died on the kamzu.
Okay.
I really like that story because it's a reminder about that no matter how you live your life, no matter how sort of intelligent you are, how you think you're going to get away with everything, death comes for everybody in the end. So even the great Ukudu, who could escape from any situation,
Died in a simple kamzu?
when he was sitting on the kamzu grating coconut, death snuck up and took him.
On the kamzu.
Yeah.
Nice,
So
bro.
it is like saying death can come at any moment. So be ready
That's
for
pretty
it.
good, man. Pretty good.
And so a
I
lot
like
of,
that. I like the simplicity of that.
Yeah. So a lot of these sorts of morals and messages, they
Uh-huh.
can come out in just simple sayings like
Yes. Any more that stick out right now that you can think of?
any more legends?
Yeah. With those hidden, not hidden, but those innuendos, like you say, those morals, stories of the moral. Anyone
one of
else?
my favorite legends to tell my kids.
The fish. No.
Kungan, the fish,
Really?
Iguihan.
Oh, I was just
It's one
joking.
of my favorites.
Really?
It's
Okay.
Because it's because when I tell it, I have a
You
daughter.
dramatize
I have
it?
a daughter and a son. Of course, I dramatize
Yeah.
it. So there's lots of yelling and
Understood.
screaming and
Yeah.
so on
We're in
like that.
we're in a restaurant, bro. Don't do that here. Okay.
no, don't worry.
Yeah.
But so for those of you who don't know, sometimes that story is referred to why Guam is narrow in the middle.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's referred to how the women saved Guam.
How the women saved Guam.
How the women saved Guam.
Okay.
And so sometimes the story goes. Sometimes the story focuses on how just a simple geographical explanation. And so in some versions of it, it's just really supposed to explain to you why Guam has a certain particular
Yeah.
shape. Now, I don't really care for those versions of it. What I really like are the versions which focus on the role of women in Chamorro society. So when I tell my kids, for example, I focus in on the fact that the Chamorro men, when this big fish appears, which is eating the island, the Chamorro men don't listen to the Chamorro women.
Okay.
So the Chamorro men think that because they're big and strong, they're going to go kill
course.
this fish. That's man's work.
That's
and the
right.
women try and come in and give their advice and counsel, and the men ignore them, saying, go make some tatitas or something like that, even though there's no tatitas in ancient times. And so, but in ancient times, there's, the Magalahi and the Magahaga are like brother and sister.
Okay.
They work together for the good of the family and the good of the village.
Okay.
It's not that men are in charge and women are underneath them, but
Yeah.
that men and women are supposed to be equal. And so men screw up in that story because they don't listen to their sisters. They don't listen to the women in their family. And so they fail miserably. They can't get the fish. But then the women, now in different versions, they are more spiritual. And so they pray to the ancestors, they pray to the spirits. In some versions, they pray to the Serenas. But they ultimately are more respectful, and they cut off their hair and weave it together and cast a spell on that net that they make. And that's what catches the fish.
Okay.
And so, I always say that this is an important story because it shows how men and women need to work together.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like an issue where men are in charge and women should shut up and get in the kitchen or something like that. Or it's
Go
not even
wash
that,
my clothes.
it's not even that women should be in charge and men should shut up and go work with the bush cutter. But it's that they
Care
have
for
to
their
work.
mic. You're servicing some pretty sensitive wounds here, okay, buddy?
But so I always tell that to my kids because I have a daughter and a son.
Yeah.
And I want them to work together.
Nice. Oh, good job, man.
I want them to work
Good
together.
job.
But and so yeah. But then
So the fish.
I also
so the
like
fish.
I also like the fact that the women, now in order to defeat the fish, they don't just sort of overpower the fish, but they have to cut their own hair. They have to sacrifice something.
Sure. Nice.
And when you think about Chamorro culture, so much of it is focused around sacrificing.
Okay.
It's not that you don't get things for free.
Sure.
I mean, nowadays, when you see sort of the influence of westernization, there is this idea that you can get a lot of things for free.
Mm-hmm.
But back, or without any work, without any hard work. But back in the day, everything came from hard work.
Yes, of course.
And so the men just thought that we're strong and we're tough, so we'll kill the fish. But the women were the ones who said, in order to accomplish something great, we have to be willing to sacrifice.
Okay.
So we give up our hair.
Okay.
And we're going to go around Bozu for like months.
Okay.
In order to defeat this, in order to solve this problem. And so that's why, these legends that sort of people tell, some of them are very, very deep like that. They have a lot of interesting messages. And so I definitely want to recommend to people out there, and not Chamorros and non-Chamorros.
Yeah.
Though anyone who sort of claims Guam as being their home,
okay,
that you should tell these legends to your kids, and you should not be afraid to focus them in certain ways in order to help your kids understand certain things.
Hey, thanks for saying that, Mike, because you just reminded me of my classmate Tanya Chargalov. Are you familiar with her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's my classmate, man, and so proud of her, man. Oh, my girl, Tanya. I hope you're listening. I just wanted to give you some kudos, man, for the books that you and your brother, I believe the brother, yeah, that they're. How do you know them? Did you meet them, or you've seen their stuff?
I have their books. I have.
Oh, you do? Okay, yeah. So, man, I'm so proud of her, man, and her brother Leo, right? Leo is the brother, I believe. I forget. Is it Leo? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Tanya, my apologies. But with
Sonny.
Sonny? Okay, Sonny.
Yeah.
He's the illustrator, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So, when I found out about her project and her efforts, man, I was so proud of her. And especially what you're saying with the legends and telling the stories.
You should definitely put a link to her.
Oh,
books.
Absolutely. I'm going to do that actually right after the show. So, Tanya, girl, love you. Keep up the good work, man, and I look forward to more stuff coming from you. Tanya Chargalov, everybody, Facebook, check her out. What's my apologies. What's the name of the book? Is it
Oh, she has several.
Yeah.
She has a short story collection called Latitude 13.
Okay.
And then she has the last book that she came out with is The Secret Shopper.
Secret Shopper. Ooh, what's that one?
It's kind of like a romantic comedy book.
Nice. Awesome, Tanya. You know what? I'm gonna give her a call. I got to interview her.
Or Attitude 13. Wait, maybe that's the name. Attitude or Latitude. It's one of those two.
Okay. Well, for the guys listening, check out the links below and support Tanya. Okay. Okay. Let me see what else. Okay. Right now it's about 26 minutes, Mike. You think that's good enough? Okay, everybody. Thank you for tuning in again. We look forward to the next session. Is going to be on some language learning. And I just admitted to Mike again that I was so upset before the podcast because I was telling him that I haven't been doing my commitment, with my kids, man. I'm so upset. But again, I want to be honest and raw and upfront, and show everyone that I too am struggling, but I'm calling myself out on the failures on my end, and I guess gotta pick up and try again, And so imagine the publisher of LearnChamorro.com and the DVD, is learning, but he still fails after how many years, but he keeps going. I'm talking to him third person.
I know. Look at you.
So you're weirdo.
So popular.
You're weirdo. So anyway, much love and support from Mike. He keeps encouraging me, man. It makes me want to be a better person. Just Mike, I love you, brother. In a non-gay way, of course, but but just the power. I just get so much energy and hope. The spirit, man, of and the wanting and the desire is so thick once you enter the room, or when I think about you, I'm hoping that this transcends to, if that's the right word, to everyone around the world that's tuning into the show. And once again, my triple threat, thank you again so much.
Algo más.
Si Dios más,
Adiós. Hasta aquí otra semana.
Support your local clothing brand. Guam Gear is Guam's first and only apparel for business executives and golfers. Feel the pride with every stride. Order your staff uniforms today on GuamGear.com.